Welcome back to Employment Insights with the NRTC. On this episode, we are joined by guest Quan Leysath and our host, Sylvia Stinson-Perez. Continue listening to hear about Quan's employment journey and how he gained professional development through volunteering for tasks and his journey on becoming a mentor for others.
Welcome, Quan. I am so excited to have you with us today. Quan and I have known each other for about 5 years, and we were participating in a business training program together. And I was so impressed with Quan. And so I've been able to watch his career over the past 5 or so years. And I just thought he would be an ideal guest for us to have on. So welcome, Quan.
Well, thank you so much. It's a pleasure being on. And I'd like to say that I was very impressed with you in the BMT program, business management training program. Therefore, I asked during that program for you to be my mentor. And yeah. So thank you so much for thinking about me.
Well, I can tell you and everyone, Quan, that I've learned as much from you as you possibly could have learned from me. So let's start with you sharing a little bit about your vision loss journey.
So, yes, absolutely. So my eye condition, I have macular degeneration. And what that is when your central vision deteriorates very quickly. And over time, your peripheral vision deteriorates very slowly, but over time it does deteriorate. And to illustrate that, as a child, I was able to read regular print. And throughout my lifetime, I went from reading regular print to large print, to then using a magnifier with large print, to then not even really being able to read print at all. Mm-hmm. But I still have some peripheral vision left.
Okay. Yeah. And I'm sure that's pretty helpful for getting around too. So,
yes.
So Quan, tell us about your work journey. You've had quite a few interesting jobs, and so share that with us.
Okay. Well, I started out in the banking sector, in the private sector, as a loan servicing specialist. Eventually I moved up to being the team lead for that team. I ended my career in the private sector as a underwriter assistant. The reason I left the private sector is because I was facing a accessibility barrier. Our division was incorporating a new platform that wasn't accessible. So from there, I moved on to work for the National Industries for the Blind, a central not-for-profit up in Alexandria, Virginia. While there, I worked as a price analyst. Eventually, I was promoted to a operations support manager. And then I was promoted again to a base supply center program manager. And then I thought about having this great idea of exploring something totally different, something totally new, out of my wheelhouse. So I applied, and I got the opportunity to be a business development manager in a startup company, which is totally different from my previous experience. It was very exciting, very stressful, but I had a lot of fun, learned a lot of things. But eventually it was time to have a more stable work-life balance. And I moved on to being a contract manager at a not-for-profit that employs people who are blind and visually impaired. So that's where I'm at now.
Great. Well, that is exciting, Quan. And you have had a journey. And so, as we mentioned, I met you through a formal business training program, a leadership program. Share with us, and this was not required by your job, but share with us why you feel formal education training programs and, just even developing your personal and professional skills are so important to your career success.
Absolutely. Why do I feel that? So I came across a book, and the title of that book is What Got You There? What Got You Here Won't Get You There. And the contents of that book is really about changing your personal behaviors, therefore you can be more successful. But it was the title of that book that really stuck with me. It really told me all the talents, all the skills, all the knowledge that I had that got me into this whatever seat I was in at the time would not necessarily get me into that next seat. And what that statement does not say is that continuous self-improvement is required to get to that next seat. So with our training program that we both participated in, I learned throughout that program, different experiences, different knowledge, and different areas of that I was lacking in. Actually, it turned my perspective around in several different in areas. I thought some departments were more, I guess, what would be the word? More of a luxury than a necessity. But through that program, I experienced situations and information that broadened my perspective. And I think when we're looking at formal programs in companies, training programs, certificate programs, even furthering your education outside of training programs, I think that's something that everyone needs to sit back and look at. That this here is an opportunity for you to understand, set down your prejudices, your pre-prejudices, and really understand what's going on. I like to always tell a story about when I came in as a loan specialist. My language was very, very direct. Here's the situation. Here's what I need. When can I get it from you? And over time, through training, through Toastmasters, through my BMT program, through even my MBA, and just through having great mentors, I realized, that way of communicating is decent. It'll get the job done. But how actively and how effectively have I benefited that relationship through that tone of communication? And through these training programs, I definitely have improved on my communication skills. I'm able to collaborate and motivate and influence individuals much more effectively than I have in the past.
So what really strikes me, Quan, from what you just were sharing, is that although the programs that you're talking about in many ways were very technical skilled programs, they were about business skills.
Yes.
Yet the things you walked away and that you remember and that you grew in were soft skills like communications and relationship building and understanding the team and collaboration. So I think that's fascinating. Of course, I know you developed the technical skills as well, but you also really developed the soft skills and recognize the need to. And sometimes it's even just that recognition that you need to is why participating in things outside of our box or that are not required are so important. I found this quote from this guy, Gregory Wade, and it says, every single opportunity we're presented with gives us an opportunity to learn, to grow, and to be inspired, and to share that with others. And I think that really exemplifies what you're saying there.
Thank you. That's an amazing quote.
So you have stepped up to take on new roles. You volunteered for projects. And something that I think, having been, in a career for a while, is that in the beginning, and I know that I've talked to you about this, in the beginning, you have to say yes to a lot of projects. And that is how you get a lot of skills. You go to other departments and you say, I want to learn, I want to grow my skills, I want to experience what this other part of the team does. So share with us a little bit about that, because I think that is so critical, is that sometimes we get stuck in, well, I'm just going to stay over here in my little cubicle and do my job and not going to float out there. And truly successful people have gone past those boundaries and they've taken on other responsibilities. And I will say that the more experience you have, the less you have to do that. But in the beginning, you have to do that a lot. And then you can be a lot more choosy as time goes by. And I'm not saying not to be choosy about taking on other responsibilities, but you will definitely have to say yes a lot more. So tell us your perspective on that, Quan.
Yes, I absolutely agree with that philosophy, and thank you so much for teaching me that philosophy. What happens that a lot of times is that you, as a newbie to the career, you come in and you say, "Well, this is my job duties," and you want to master. You want to do the best job you can because you don't want to be exited. You don't want to have that pink slip on your desk, right? But what happens is that you're siloed. You don't understand what comes before your process, and you don't want to understand what comes after your process. You don't understand, how your work impacts others. And what happens when you start reaching out and start saying yes to those projects? One, you're going to make friends. You're going to meet colleagues. You're going to get exposed to opportunities and knowledge that you wouldn't have been exposed to if you're just sitting there with your head down, getting your work done. And what that ultimately does is makes you more valuable in your position as an individual. So now that you know what division A, B, and C does and how your division affects that, you're more knowledgeable when it comes to if you need to improve your process. If there's a gap out there and you can see a solution for it, well, if I do A at this point in the process, then y'all don't even have to worry about that. It's taken care of, upstream. That is so important. Additionally, when it comes to networking, and it comes to building your circle of friends and your circle of colleagues, find those individuals in different departments that you can reach out to, and tap them as a source. Actually, before this podcast here, I called one of my previous colleagues in another department, and I said, "Hey, I just had a rough hour and 15-minute call. Want to bounce this off you, and if you can provide any other insight into what am I experiencing, let me know." And lo and behold, 3 years ago, he was dealing with the same situation, same department, just a different person in that department. And he provided guidance on where he went right at, where he failed at, and suggestions for me to help me move forward. He asked me some questions and some favors, and I said, "Hey, this is where I'm at with his favors." And he's like, "Hey, whenever you can deliver for me, I would truly appreciate it because I need it over here." So that is so important to say yes at the beginning. I fully agree.
That's awesome. So let's switch our gears a little bit to mentors, because you might not have recognized that as a mentor moment, but that was such a mentor moment. And we can have formal mentors who are people who we have an arrangement with that you maybe meet with on a regular basis, or your company might have a mentor program where they assign someone to you. But more often is that we have these amazing people who are those informal mentors, those people that are go-to people who we know maybe they've had a similar experience, or they're just trusted people who we can get some guidance from. And a mentor doesn't tell you what to do. We know that. But I found this awesome quote from Denzel Washington. "Show me a successful individual, and I'll show you someone who had real positive influences in his or her life. I don't care what you do for a living. If you do it well, I'm sure there was someone cheering you on or showing you the way, a mentor." So, Quan, you've sought out mentors in your life. How do you find mentors, use mentors effectively? And what positive impact have mentors had in your career and in your life? So, how do you find them? How do you effectively use them? And then what's been that positive impact for you?
Wow. I would not be where I'm at today without the people who've taken the time to pour their wisdom into me. I'm a hard worker. I'm a go-getter, but I wouldn't be where I'm at today without my mentors. How do I go about seeking out mentors? Well, I do a lot of self-reflection. I realize and identify opportunities for growth for myself, and I seek that out in other individuals. If I see person A that's great at collaborating, I'm going to reach out to that person and say, "Hey, this is my career goal. This is where I want to be. I see that, collaborating is huge for, this, position. I'm at the bottom. I'm at zero when it comes to understanding and, being effective at collaborating. How can I move from being, where I'm at now to where I need to be? And that person's typically, willing to just pour, their experiences and their thoughts and even their, if they see roadblocks, hey, you're going to run into, this roadblock, and this is a suggestion on how you handle it. I'm not going to tell you how to handle it, but here's a suggestion on how to get around this roadblock. And as you said, that cheerleader. Additionally, some mentors even act as what I call sponsors. And a sponsor is a whole nother different level. There's someone that was willing to, spend political capital, to leverage either their position or favor to get you in a position, get you into a conversation, get you into a room, which would expose you to things that, to a situation that you never would have been exposed to. And those individuals I give, I'm really thankful for my mentors, and I'm, totally gracious and thankful for my sponsors that act as my mentors also.
That's awesome. So another good quote: a mentor is a brain to pick, an ear to listen, and a push in the right direction.
Absolutely.
And that was a John C. Crosby quote, but I love that because it's so true. Is sometimes a mentor just gives you that push you need.
Yeah. And the mentor is able to hold you accountable.
Yeah. So Benjamin Disraeli said, the greatest good you can do for another is not to just share your riches, but to reveal to another person his own. So helping people see their capabilities, their talents, because a lot of times we underestimate our own abilities and, our own potential in many ways. And so someone to line up behind you and say, you can do this is so important. But then to also say, how can I help you achieve this? So, Quan, what are the blindness skills that have helped you in your career journey? What's really important? What are some really important skills that someone has to have?
Wow. Let's see here. I will start off with the first blindness skill I obtained was mobility, the ability to walk by myself, get from point A to point B. The ability to think on my feet and be flexible. Like if I run into a situation where they have road construction, I'm able to, reroute myself and in a safe way, of course, but, still get to that location on time. That is major when you're, talking to someone in an interview space and they're asking you, okay, well, not to be a jerk or anything, but how are you going to get to work when I hire you? And if you're able to say, hey, well, look, I'm going to walk out my door. I'm going to walk to the bus stop. I'm going to get on the 7:15 bus stop, and I'm going to ride that bus until I get to, whatever stop. And then what I'm going to do after that, I'm going to get off. I'm going to cross the road, walk 3 blocks. I'm going to take a left, and I'm going to walk into the office. And I'm going to make my way to my desk. I mean, when you say that with confidence, that changes the whole game. I mean, because many of the hiring managers have not met a blind person before. So their understanding of a person's capability is lacking. It's lacking in the sense of they're just not informed, right? Yeah. The second skill I would say is the technical skills. So I'm a JAWS user, and as when I came into using JAWS, a lot of things were accessible. When I got my first job in the banking industry, everything was accessible, right? When I was pushing to move into that team lead space, into that assistant underwriter space, 50 to 70% of things were not accessible from the jump. But, through my JAWS knowledge, through, understanding other tools that are out there for my use, I was able to adapt and make those things, make that job or make that experience successful for myself.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Great. So my next question is about the soft skills. And you just mentioned a couple, being a problem solver, being confident. So share with us the soft skills that are so critical for success.
Definitely, I would say problem solving, being able to advocate. So that kind of goes with that communication skills, because you have to communicate to the right audience, to the right audience in the right tone. Yes, you can vent to your friends about accessibility, but let's go with the solution when you you're presenting your boss with accessibility issue, right? Additionally, things that have made me successful, I would say, listening for what's being said and what is not being said. And I follow that up with asking good questions and, of course, doing my own research.
Well, I'm going to say that I like that you mentioned explaining with confidence how you were going to do something, how you were going to get to work, how you were going to use technology. And I think that's part of self-advocacy, is being able to say it with confidence. And you said that makes all the difference. And I think that's so true.
Yes, it is. Same with confidence. It's something that you pick up in Toastmasters, something that you pick up just observing life. Somebody can say the sky is red, and that means nothing to a blind person, right? But if they say it enough with confidence, people around them are looking like, okay, what part of the sky is red they're talking about there? Obviously, he sees it, and I'm not seeing it. Let me check my glasses here. And this person could be totally wrong. But they're saying it with confidence. Therefore, they're influencing others around them to believe that he's seeing red.
Yeah. And to just, go with that is that when you say, I can do this job, I know 100% I can, and here's how I'm going to do it. Here's how I'm going to get here. Here's how I'm going to do the job. It speaks volumes. It truly does. Correct. So, Quan, can you provide just one major insight that you would give to someone who's, coming into a career, making a career transition, maybe because they've experienced vision loss, just something that you think is so important for people to really understand that are new to blindness or just new to a job that can really help them?
And if I can give two pieces of advice.
You can give two.
Okay. So there's in that area, that space where you're looking at applying for jobs or getting that first job, or you're in that gap between two careers, right? My advice is perseverance, because you're going to hear and receive a lot of no's. And, eventually, that may start wearing you down, but just remind yourself you're looking for that one yes. And that's all you really need. You need that one person, that one organization that says, all right, let's do it. Let's go after it. We'll figure it out on our way. Let's make this work. So for those individuals in that gap year, I would say just be persistent there. For those individuals who are entering their career, or they are entering a new career from the gap year, I would say for those individuals, practice continuous self-improvement. That will serve you well in so many ways. One, you're walking into a new career, so you need to learn, right? You need to learn what you're doing. You need to learn what everyone else is doing around you. But also as you improve on your communication, your knowledge about the industry, you're just going to get better. Continue networking, continuing asking for great advice, self-learning, self-improvement also. But yeah, just self-improvement there, continuous self-learning. Continuous
self-learning, because being a lifelong learner is really it's something that's essential, because, well, number one, you never know when you're going to have a job change, a career change, a life change. You just never know. But also, if there's one thing we've learned is that you never know when things on your job are going to change. So, it just always being working on skills. So one thing that occurs to me that as you were talking is that, someone who's maybe new to vision loss or, learning the skills, they might go through a lot of technology training, go through orientation and mobility skills training, even do independent living skills training. And then they go home and they don't have a job yet. Yeah, they don't continue to work on those skills. And if we don't use those skills, they get rusty. So you've got to get out, even if you have really, quote, nowhere to go. Well, right. You need to go out and volunteer. You need to just go out and walk the neighborhood, take the bus, use the paratransit, use the rideshare, whatever it is you're going to use to get to work eventually. You need to go out there and practice using that. Take that as an opportunity to practice and build those skills. And it takes years to become a really good traveler, a really good cane user, et cetera. So that's an opportunity to practice. Practice those technology skills. Get on there, write resumes, get on the internet, look for jobs. Don't wait for someone else to do that for you. Make sure you're working on building those skills. Because I find the more I use the computer, the more problems happen. So the more I have to be a problem solver. It's so annoying, but it's so true. But if I just let it sit, which one day when I retire, I literally am like, I don't want to see a computer again when I retire. but it's so true that the more we use it, the better you become a problem solver in the technology world. So, but if you're not using it, the same with your independent living skills. If you want to be a safe cook, you've got to actually cook. So practicing all of those skills, even if you, quote, don't think you need them at the moment, you do, because you need to build them. Yeah. So important. I love that persistence and lifelong learning. And great insights. Thing? You want to add one more? Okay.
Well, you brought it up when you used the word opportunity and volunteering. That's so important because you're able to utilize those skills in the volunteering. You're able to keep sharpening your tool set, right? And I would tell you this: nobody voluntarily turn down free labor. Even if they had, no understanding about, what a blind person can do. If you walk up to them and say, hey, I will start doing this, research for you for free. I will start typing your memos up for you for free. Just give me an opportunity. Yeah, you're going to get somebody that says, absolutely, let's try. Let's see if this works. So yeah, I just wanted to kind of mention that.
And, so Quan, something I'll say about that is sometimes, I've heard people say in my many years in this field, well, I'm not going to work for free. Well, you know what? That is technically, you're not getting a paycheck, but you're getting a lot of experience.
Yes.
And, truly successful people often volunteer outside of even their career. And I know you and I both volunteer. We have successful careers, but we also volunteer. And my volunteer work has nothing to do with what I do for a job. Nothing to do with it. And it is actually hard work labor.
Right.
But I am learning stuff there. I'm networking, I'm socializing, it's just a good thing to do. So don't think of it as, quote, free labor. Think of it as an opportunity to learn, to grow, to network, because you just never know. This has been a fantastic conversation. So I'm going to ask you one more question. Okay. What is one quote, life motto, saying that you live by? Like, this is like who I am. It drives me.
Zig Ziglar said something to the fact, and I'll probably totally mess it up, right?
That's okay.
Something to the fact that success Success only comes when preparation meets opportunity. I think that's what it was. And, you know, I break that down on so many different levels, but, you know, that preparation piece there, you know, that continuous learning, that equates to a continuous learning for myself. And then opportunity. I mean, yes, a beautiful opportunity can come up, but if you're not prepared for it, then it's just going to pass you by. So yeah, I live by that quote. Just always continue improving, preparing for opportunities that may come that I expect to come. And then, you know, if something out of the blue comes up, then hey, if I'm prepared for it, then I'm gonna go after it.
So Quan,
yes,
I know that you said you've benefited from mentoring, but now you are a mentor for people, and you've even started a mentoring program where you work. Share with us a little bit about that and why you did it, and you know what's that impact for you?
Oh, absolutely. So something one of my mentors drilled into me is that people have a lot of potential, and if you tap into their potential, you not only better them as an individual, you better whoever they help in the future, right? So when I came at my organization I'm currently at, I seen a lot of potential around me. And, you know, on the side, as a side thing, I was, you know, sending people, you know, classes and, hey, you know, let's have a conversation during our lunchtime. And this got, you know, pushed up to, it was supposed to be a negative thing, right? It got pushed up to the executive team that, you know, Quan is taking time during his lunch, you know, talking to people about stuff, you know, whatever. And the senior leadership looked at it as like, okay, well, hey, let's put him in charge of this, you know, mentor program that we've been thinking about doing. So when the idea was proposed to me, they're like, hey, we already know that you're mentoring, and they just put it out there. All the people I was mentoring on the side that I just came in contact with, and they're like, how about let's, you know, do a formal mentoring program. So earlier this year, I got a team together and we designed a formal mentoring program. And during the summer, we actually kicked it off. So we had 10 mentors, 10 mentees, some that we went out and recruited some mentors, and then we went out and recruited some mentees, because just with our communication, our structure, we wanted to make sure that individuals who would benefit from this, you know, type of structured program will actually, you know, apply for the program. So we set it up, we connected them, we set up a structure in which we designed a framework, not a curriculum in which to control their interactions, but a framework in which they could benefit from their interactions. And we wanted to start off with a 12-month program, but we said, hey, we'll start off with a 6-month program, only to understand what we did correctly and what we did well, and then take a lot of feedback from the experience, and then improve on that. And then for our next session, we'll, you know, push a 9 to 12-month program out there. But it's been an excellent experience building on a program, and then also kind of managing the program now. It has not taken away from my mentoring responsibilities. Still during my lunchtime, still call, check on my mentees, see how they're doing, see what the environment's like. Just, you know, listening to their tone, checking to see if they're, you know, feeling nervous, feeling tired. So I give that word of encouragement. You know, some other mentees, I have to encourage and hold them accountable for not moving forward in their goals and their professional development, because, you know, sometimes we all need that push, and you know, that sense of somebody's watching me, and somebody's watching me that cares about my future. So they're only, you know, asking me to do this and asking me to do what I said I was going to do because they you know it benefits myself, right? So it involves all that, and I really do appreciate the time that I have to participate in it as a mentor, and also as you know, creating this program to help other people get mentored.
And beyond the benefit to others and to you personally, you've had a career, you know, advantage as well, because management recognized and acted on that. And you never know where that is going to lead.
Yes.
Great job.
Thank you.
That's brilliant. Brilliant, Quan. And I know that to be so true about you. I value you as a friend. And just so thank you so much for being here. So I'm going to leave with this great quote that I have loved being a mentor for you. But as I said, I have learned as much from you as you could have possibly learned from me. But I love this Whoopi Goldberg quote. And I mean, I've known this one for a little while. We're here for a reason. I believe a bit of the reason is to throw little torches out to lead people through the dark. And that, to me, that represents mentoring. And so thank you so much for being here and sharing your brilliant insights and your journey with us.
Absolutely.
You are fantastic.
Thank you so much for having me.